Warning: the following content contains strong language and may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome to the MGS Podcast, your one-stop shop for movies, games, and sports. My name is Jake, here always with the mouse to my keyboard, Paul. How you doing, Paul? Feeling superior today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited to be back here. We had a little bit of a break.
Yeah, we had a lot of stuff going on between both of us. I went to the Bahamas. You keep getting sick.
Yeah, you almost traded me out for a dolphin as a best friend. Like, what the fuck?
First of all, that dolphin was amazing.
Dude, that was pretty cool.
It was the coolest thing that I've ever done. Like, if the next time you go on one, you have to do it. If you've never gone on a cruise and swam with the dolphins, it's not as expensive as it sounds either. It's like $200 per person. So, like, if your wife and kids go, just don't take them to that part. Yeah, go by yourself.
Do yourself. Just like, I gotta go to the casino.
Yeah. And meet Zig the dolphin. So, on today's podcast, we are going to be talking about 3 different movies. Day Shift, which is about vampires. Beast, which is about a lion. And Devotion, which is
about airplanes.
We'll say a prequel to Top Gun.
very far.
Yeah, and then for gaming, we're going to be talking about GTA Roleplay. And we're going to be talking a little bit about a new game coming out.
Yeah, kind of a little similar to GTA.
Little similar.
Little Saints Row action.
Saints Row.
Time to get in some gang wars.
Dude, I'm stoked for Saints Row.
Yeah, it looks really good. I'm excited.
We always say all these things we're excited about. And, like, it sounds like we just repeat ourselves every week, but, like, every time we say we're excited about stuff, we're genuinely excited about it, so... Oh, that's going on the cover. That's the thumbnail for the video right there. That's And then for sports...
I can contribute.
Yeah, for sports, we're probably going to talk about the NFL, so, get ready for that.
Preseason started yesterday, so today is Saturday, so we got some preseason games going on right now. But it's back in full force. We have touchdowns. We have interceptions. We have fights on the sidelines from the same team. So there's a lot of cool stuff going on in the NFL, but also in the sports world as we get ready for baseball to wind down into the playoffs and the race begins for that. And then we have some knockouts and some UFC too.
Yeah.
I would like to talk about. I saw a flying knee kick the other day. It was massive. So. But yeah, hang around. We're going to get ready to jump into our movie segment and get this rolling. Rolling. I ain't slept in weeks.
That's not the rolling I was thinking of. Keep rolling.
See? 2 different types of genres of music right there. You get it all, baby. You're one-stop shop.
We'll be back in a minute. So to kick things off with movies, we're going to be talking about Day Shift, which is kind of an out-of-the-blue, crazy vampire movie with Jamie Foxx, which everyone knows he's funny. Dave Franco. Not only is he funny, he doesn't rape people like his brother.
Jeez, I was like, is he going to go there? He's going to go there.
I went there. And then, out of left field, Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Doggy Dogg. Who, it's funny because it's a pretty different cast. Like, if you think about all those people, you're like, wow, how's that going to kind of go together? But, like, Jamie Foxx has always been kind of really funny, since back in the show, and then can play also a good serious role.
Yeah, like in Django.
So, I really enjoy him as an actor. And then, Snoop Dogg, I can't recall the last time I saw him on a movie. But him and Martha Stewart, bro, they kick it on all the time.
He was in a horror movie at one point where he was a vampire.
Oh, so he's got a thing for vampires.
So he's been a vampire before. I don't remember what it was called. I just now remembered it, but I just remember he was wearing like a big black trench coat, and he was a vampire. So there's like something in the Vampire in the Hood or something like that.
So this kind of looks like it's kind of like one of those ground investigation teams, that goes out and hunts vampires throughout the day. There's vampires living throughout the world. I was kind of like shocked because when the trailer started, it was just Jamie Foxx. He goes in, looks like he's about to rob a place, and then this old lady walks out. He's like, she's like, what are you doing in here? And then just shotgun to the chest. I'm like, what the
she goes flying back.
And then just crashes her body like The Exorcist was about to start on her. I was like, oh my God, I did not see that coming.
Yeah, it looks really funny. And then, you've got, so one thing that I've always loved in comedies is when you have awkward diversity.
Yeah.
So you've got Jamie Foxx and you've got Snoop Dogg, who like in this movie they're like real hood vampire murderers, and then you've got Dave Franco, who at one point pees his pants in the trailer and he's just panicking, freaking out the whole time.
And he looks like he's the new guy, so he's not used to any of it.
Man,
and just like
Snoop Dogg looks good though. Like,
you mean in the cowboy outfit?
No, just he's like 70 years old almost, man.
That's true, yeah.
And
I forgot he is that old.
Eric and T-Bone, they always say it about themselves. They're like, black don't crack, baby.
Black don't crack.
Like, you're not wrong. Shit. The white old celebrities got to get surgeries and Botox and all this other shit.
Shoot, I was just looking at Val Kilmer, bro. Like,
yeah, he looks weird.
He's really bad. Like, even in Top Gun, they barely even showed him because of how badly he aged. So
yeah,
but I think he had actually some like serious conditions that kind of affected him. But
yeah, cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Yeah, was that what it was that he did all the time?
I don't know, probably.
But yeah, so no, it looks really interesting. It looks funny. It looks like a lot of action. I'm definitely excited to see it.
Is it a Netflix movie? Is that what it is? I don't remember. I can't find it on here. I should have looked at that before we actually started talking about it. But I believe it's a Netflix original.
If it was Netflix, they'd show it on there. But
yeah.
Definitely not going to be on Disney Plus.
No, it's a Netflix. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, cool.
All right. So it's out on Netflix now. We don't want to tell you too much about it because to me, it had it was a very long trailer. It was like 3 minutes and 50 seconds. So they showed a lot in the trailer. I kind of wish I would have only seen a small teaser of it because I feel like I saw them killing every vampire at some point in the trailer.
Yeah.
But so if you don't want to see the trailer, don't watch it. It just looks like a super funny, semi-serious vampire hunting movie.
Yeah, a lot of action, so definitely check it out. We got a launch date on that one?
Today.
Oh, is it today?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. All right, we'll definitely check it out.
Yeah.
Give you our thoughts and opinions on that next week with spoilers, so make sure you see it before the next podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited.
Next one's, I would say, a lot of action, too, and looks super intense. But Beast?
Yeah, with Idris Elba.
Yeah, and I know you love him. I know he is one of your favorite actors.
I cherish him. I want him to be the next Bond, but it's not looking likely.
That would be really cool, actually.
He's been in the rumor mill for it for years now, but nothing's really stuck. And now Henry Cavill is kind of leading the rumor mill in terms of the next Bond. But
we'll see how that goes. It would be cool to see him as a Bond. I think he would portray a really dope James Bond.
And we haven't seen a black James Bond yet. We're much more diverse world now. Give us a black James Bond.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
That would be really cool.
Give us a transgender black woman.
He looks like he takes his 2 daughters over on an African safari, gets like a private tour from this guy, and then just like kind of every movie, you're gonna have your plot twist where things start going downhill.
Like and oh shit!
This massive lion, is hunting them down, and kind of, I don't know, they make it kind of feel like it's a revenge thing.
Yeah, it's the trailer. So when we're talking about this is one movie where I do recommend to go look at the trailer because what we're explaining, it's really hard for us to portray with just what we're saying. But yeah, it kind of seems like they're being hunted by a lion and the lion has a grudge against them. But it's not like an ordinary lion either. It's like, from what I remember in the trailer, it's like the lion of legend, essentially.
Yeah,
it's just
like
this big
Hercules from the
ass.
Sandlot.
Yeah.
A big-ass fucking
But
dog.
Hercules the way they thought he was, not the way he actually was. And then, at some point it looks like they encounter some poachers and they maybe get captured by the poachers.
Which is what I think the lion initially probably thinks that they are.
Yeah.
Assuming there's probably some story to that where his cubs were killed or, something, and he's being hunted and just kind of out for revenge on everybody.
Yeah.
But it looks intense.
It does.
He got his 2 kids with him, and he's there to, try to protect them. And
I feel like we talk a lot about video games having their own formula, and that's really important in movies too. And have we seen movies similar to this? Yes, but it's been a while. I can't think of one recently where there's just a big thing hunting them besides, the Predator movies. But
yeah, it looks
it's
intense.
Different. It's a lion.
I'll be excited to see that. Hell, I'd fucking shit my pants if I saw a lion that big. Or any lion face to face.
A little lion cub would come rub on my leg, and I'd Dave Franco all over my leg. So, not much to talk about with that one, which is why we got a third movie for you, Devotion, which is starring Jonathan Majors.
The prequel to Top Gun.
Yeah, and I keep joking that it's a prequel to Top Gun, but when you watch the trailer, it feels like Top Gun that takes place during the Korean War. Now, the big difference between this is, during the Korean War, you still had a massive segregation of African American people in the country, and they weren't allowed. It's not that they weren't allowed; they weren't accepted to do certain things. So in this, we've got someone who's arguably the top fighter pilot in the United States military, who happens to be a black man, gets put on a naval carrier with a bunch of white pilots, and in the trailer they talk about but he's a black guy, can't trust him to have your six,
right?
So it's it's gonna be we're gonna see a lot of dogfights because there were a lot of dogfights in the trailer, but then we're also gonna see a lot of tension between him and his peers.
Glenn Powell, who's his wingman, who actually also played in the new Top Gun Maverick movie. He was kind of Iceman's, new guy in that movie. So, looks like he's going to play kind of similar to the same character, almost. Gives his wingman a lot of shit and, doesn't trust him. Maybe a little bit of jealousy there, that he could be better than him. So, we'll see. But, yeah, I'm excited to see some dogfights. If it's anything like what we saw in Top Gun Maverick at the end there, it'll be intense. Really cool to see on screen. It looks like one of those movies where you should go check it out in IMAX.
Yeah,
get some
all those
Dolby
different
Digital.
sounds, the extra visuals. That would be a good IMAX one.
Yeah, that would look like it'd be really cool. And it's awesome to see those older war movies portrayed and see what it was really like for them. You know, back in that time. Whole different type of mechanics and whole different types of technology for the planes and everything.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. So. I'm excited for that one. Any war movie for me is good. I hope it goes up there in my top 5. Would be pretty cool. So
yeah, it like you said before we started the podcast. Jonathan Majors is just such a brilliant actor. For those of you who don't know who Jonathan Majors is, if you've seen the Loki series, he plays He Who Remains, which is also Kang the Conqueror. And even in there, the character he plays as He Who Remains, his voice, his posture, his body language, it's so unique to the Kang the Conqueror that was leaked in the Ant-Man trailer, who's, a different variant. But the different directors that have worked with him playing Kang so far have said, seen him go from these different variants and how quickly he can just switch into a different character and make that it's a different character. He's a great actor.
Yeah, special guy. I'd be excited to see him on both those screens. So
yeah.
Completely different roles, but this one looks a lot pretty serious. So I'm excited.
War and racism. That's almost as serious as
terrible
it gets.
time, man.
Yeah. I do want to quick point out for those of you who may not have seen it. I know Paul hadn't yet because I kind of just threw it on him. There's a movie that a lot of people hadn't actually heard of called Prey. Now, if you were to just see the title screen for it, it just says Prey in some weird letters, and it's kind of like a Native American scenery. It is a prequel to the first Predator movie. So if you didn't know what Prey was, it's a prequel to Predator. It takes place during the Predator's first hunt on Earth. I watched it. Some of the acting was but overall it was a really good movie, so you should go check it out.
Real quick, I'm going to throw one more thing at you.
God damn it. I was allowed to do it.
I know. I'm going to do it. Only because it's actually somewhat similar related.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. Teletubbies?
Yes.
Okay, nice.
No, actually, James Franco. So, talking about his brother David there in that first movie we were going over on. But James Franco There's a lot of rumors that he's getting ready to be casted in a new movie. Have you heard about it?
No.
Who was the dictator in Cuba?
Fidel Castro?
Yes. So it's crazy because he's not Spanish. So that's the backlash that they're getting right now.
Wait, he was rumored to be cast as Fidel Castro?
I'm pretty sure he's been casted as Fidel Castro.
I wonder if it's going to be like a comedy type? No?
Serious movie. It's supposed to be him as Fidel Castro, and a lot of people in the Spanish community are kind of up in uproar about it.
Which I can understand.
He's not even Spanish. How can he betray this? So the directors of this movie, they use like all this crazy technology, and they were not so worried about him being Spanish, but they wanted someone to look like Fidel Castro. So it's crazy because we can throw a picture up here of a side-by-side, but when you see James Franco and then you see the picture of Fidel Castro, it's amazing the resemblance of those two.
Okay.
And so that's what they were going for. They wanted it to look real as can be and get that feeling of Fidel Castro and, on what he was in Cuba and,
with James Franco, once those allegations came up against him, at first I always take these allegations with a grain of salt because
unless you're Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, unless you're Deshaun. Yeah, if you've got that many, you did something. But the problem was once the allegations happened, like a month later, his best friend in the world, Seth Rogen, cut ties with him. Which means...
And they made a ton of great movies together.
Oh, yeah. Which, in my opinion, that means that the allegations are probably fucking true. He now thinks his friend's a piece of shit, and there's a reason he cut ties with them. So it's hard for me to get behind a James Franco project, but I am curious to see how he looks like as Fidel Castro.
I'll throw the picture up there. And there's no, makeup of him done in it. It's just they wanted facial features and everything, and when you see the side-by-side photos, it's pretty remarkable on how close they are.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, so I was wondering too, we haven't seen David Franco in a couple movies, actually in a long time, so I was wondering if that backlash from his brother affected his career as well. So, or maybe he just got out of the limelight for a little bit to kind of let that kind of fade away. But yeah, he's a great actor. I love him in all his movies. He's always been really funny, so I'm, again, excited to see that one. But I think that'll wrap it up for our movie segment. Yeah. Get ready to go into some video games. Again, some GTA. Jake's got a lot of great things to talk about. He's been, I don't even want to say hooked because it's been way more than that. Addicted, for sure.
I've been living in Grand Theft Auto.
A whole nother world in there for you.
Yeah.
But stick around. We'll do that and some Saints Row. So we'll see you in a few.
See you in a few. Drinking as much water as I have been, I don't...
Was that Caitlin or him?
I don't feel as good as people say I'd make you feel. I drink 3 of these a day.
Dude, I've been drinking... They fill our thing up with water.
I'm going to drink that while gaming tonight.
So I just, I have 1 bottle of water, and then I just fill it up throughout the day while I'm at work.
Yeah.
I've been trying to be better about as much soda intake.
Mm-hmm.
It's we're getting to that age, bro. You just really have to start watching what we're doing before I start having fucking kidney failure or a shit ton of fucking kidney stones. Which I'm sure they're already there. It probably looks like fucking STD inside my kidneys.
It's a fucking cave system in there.
Yeah,
there's, what are they called? Stalactites? The things hanging down from caves?
That's fucking fantastic. That'll be a good... Welcome back to the MGS Podcast, your one-stop shop for movies, games, and sports. Moving in here to our second segment, video games. We got a lot of cool stuff to talk about today. Jake's been playing some GTA online, and he's got some really unique servers he's been playing in. Obviously I don't play on PC, so some of that stuff was a little taken by me that people just kind of go in there and do those things, but we'll let Jake get a little bit more on that. And then something... It's very similar to GTA. Coming out with a new game on the 22nd. which is going to be Saints Row.
Yeah, the reboot.
Yeah.
The reboot.
The reboot.
Of the Saints.
I think the last one ended off as you being a president.
Yeah, and you like went to space to save the world and shit.
Fighting aliens and shit. So now we're back on planet Earth and looks to be some type of Vegas-style city out in the desert. But looks really cool, so we'll get in that as well. And then we have an honorable mention that we'll get to towards the end, so stick around for that.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, exciting, fun little game to play, so if you got some spare time, check that one out. But let's get into some GTA, man. Let's hear about it. Everybody loves GTA.
So people are probably watching this right now and being like, the fuck they talking about GTA for? The game's... Like, GTA 5 came out 48 years ago.
Yeah, 47.
It's been a long fucking time. So, those who are not familiar, you've probably seen TikToks or YouTube videos or Instagram reels about people playing GTA 5 roleplay. So...
Losers.
Yeah, fucking nerds, am I right? So there's this program that you can download on your PC called 5M, Fivem, as in Mary. And so you have to own a legal copy of the game, first of all, so you can go buy it for like fucking $3 on Steam or whatever. But you download 5M and then you just search through hundreds and hundreds, I would say thousands and thousands of servers where you role play.
Jake's checked out 989 of them.
I've checked out so fucking many. Because,
I knew when you guys started talking about it, I was like, dude, Jake's going to be addicted to that shit. Because you love GTA.
So I do. And, GTA 5 Online got so stale because it's just all about, buying these stupid-ass shark cards for $100 now. Because they price everything so crazy. Like, since we've played, I don't know if you knew this, since we've played... They've come out with a shit ton of cars on there. And one of them is like, the old school Mitsubishi Eclipse, like Brian's car from Fast and the Furious. Do you want to know how much that car costs in GTA?
$8 million.
It's $2 million for that car. And then the mods are millions of dollars. So basically you have to buy one $100 shark card to buy that car and mod it. And it's fucking insane the way that game has gotten. So 5M created a community of people where... you go and play on these lobbies with mods. And they're not all roleplay lobbies. The roleplay lobbies are the ones that I've been getting into just because they're interesting.
So real quick, we'll give a breakdown for people who don't understand what you mean by roleplay when you're getting into these lobbies. So
essentially you're playing The Sims.
Yeah.
You're going in, you're creating your character, you're getting a job, you're working your 9 to 5, not literally. Like, I'm an electrician in one of the servers. You go pick up your electrician truck, you drive to like 5 fuse boxes around the city, repair them, and then you go drop the truck off, and they're like, hey, here's $2,000 after taxes.
And keep in mind too, when you're doing these role play servers, you can't run red lights.
You can't speed.
Yeah. There's no hitting pedestrians on the way.
There's
or
cops
you
all
will
over.
Actually get pulled over by other players who have gone and became a police officer or whatever profession that they decided to choose when they go into this role play type server. So it's not just your normal GTA. Like, you're living real life through this video game.
So we I was playing with Eric and T-Bone on a server. And now one thing, when you see police go by you, just like in real life, you're like, I'm going to go look. I want to see what's happening, right? So T-Bone's like, hey, man, the cops have the road blocked off over by our apartment. So I fucking bust a U-turn. Because one thing, when police are responding to shit, you can speed. And because there's no cops around at that point, because all the cops are responding to this call. So, me and Eric, we fucking bust a U-turn and we floor it over there. Well, I wasted Eric because I'm driving a Dodge Demon and he was driving an F-150. But so Eric gets there late. At this point, the scene has cleared up. There was basically a car started on fire. So there was fire truck there, ambulance, bunch of police blocking the roads.
You guys are hoping for a shootout?
No. Well, yeah. I got another story. This is why we're only talking about 2 games here, because most of this is going to be fucking stories about how much fun you can have in this game. But so, I got to see the end of it. The fire truck, the guy is wrapping the hose up. Mind you, the firefighter, real person. The EMS people, real people. The cops, real people. What are you doing with your face right now? Can you?
I'm visualizing as you're saying it. So like, okay. I'm sorry, I'm staring off the distance. Like I'm thinking GTA, so I'm like listening in.
So I parked my car around the corner, and I walked around the corner, right, to kind of just watch the scene as I would do in real life. And Eric, he got pulled over when the scene was clearing up for what I suspect is DWB. Those of you who don't know, that means driving while black. Because Eric is a black man in real life, and his character is also black. So he gets pulled over. And then, we're talking in Discord, which is not allowed in these servers, by the way. It's only voice in proximity. So people that are by you can hear you. So what we're doing is not allowed. So Eric, like, we can hear him talking to the cop. So then I walk closer and closer and closer. And then Eric leaves Discord because me and T-Bone were talking too much and he couldn't hear the cop talking to him. But, he ended up like getting off with a warning. They said he ran a red light, but I don't...
Didn't he get pulled over too for not having a seatbelt on?
No, but you can. You can get pulled over for all kinds of shit. I got crazy. Pulled over for reckless driving. I was reckless driving. I ran 4 lights and they pulled me over. But the Sheriff Riggs, in the server that I play in, gave me permission because I was actually helping him like find a bug that was in the game with one of the jobs. So he's like, hey, get over to that spot as quick as you can. If you get pulled over, just let them know that Sheriff Riggs told you can do this. So at one point I get lit up and I told him, I'm like, hey, Sheriff Riggs said that I have to go here as fast as I can. And if I get pulled over, just to let you know. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess you can go. So then I go.
I'd be pulling that card all the time in that server. No, Sheriff Riggs said it was.
Well, they can radio him and find out. But obviously this guy didn't because I finished this job for the sheriff and then I got pulled over. And at this point, I'm following the laws again, and I'm like, why the fuck did I get pulled over? So the one cop comes up to me, just like real life license registration. You can give that stuff to him in the game. So he's going and running my name because each server, like you have your own record within that server. They can see what tickets you have, if you murdered someone. So, and then another cop comes up to me, and he's like, what did he pull you over for? I'm like, dude, I have no idea. He hasn't told me yet. And then they walk back to the car, and I can hear them faintly, like, yeah, got him for reckless driving, got him for this, got him for that. There was I smell a trace of marijuana in the car. Because...
No way, bro.
They can, though. They can.
So, but there's got to be something on their
screen.
There's
an icon,
if you smoked at a certain point in the game.
I smoke all the time in the game.
Yeah, so then it had to be like an hour earlier. So now your little bar that shows it is...
your character in this server that I'm talking about, which, by the way, guys, this is called the Republic of Texas Gaming. It's ROTG. It's on 5M. But the server that I'm in, you get stressed out from doing certain things. And my car is super, super, super fucking fast. It stresses my guy out the whole time. So pretty much while I'm driving, I'm smoking a joint the whole time because it lowers the stress level. But when you smoke a joint, a little icon pops up in the bottom left, which is the smell.
So do you tell him to do it, or because of his stress level, is he just...
No, I tell him to do it. Yeah, I make him do it.
And that helps bring down
It brings the stress down, yeah.
God, that's crazy.
So, but, end of the day, they ended up radioing Sheriff Riggs, and they ended up letting me go with a warning. But mind you, earlier that day, I murdered someone. So I thought I was going to go to jail for sure because I was waiting for Eric to create his character. And I'm sitting outside of like the courthouse, which is where you spawn in. And some random dude comes out. And I'm like, Eric, is that you? He's like, no, man, I'm still creating my character. I'm like, okay. And then I go into voice and proximity. I'm like, hey, man, you need a ride or something? And then all of a sudden the dude hides behind a tree. And I'm like, I can still see you. And then he comes up to like my truck because I've got my truck with the Hellcat on the back of it. And he tries to open the truck door. I'm like, truck's locked, bro. You can't, you can't get in. I'm like, do you have a mic or something? And then he goes into my Challenger. And I'm like, hey, man, get out of the Challenger. And then he starts hot wiring it. So I pull out my shotgun. I'm like, hey, man, get out of the Challenger. And then he doesn't. So I fucking pop him in the head.
Yeah, but technically, I mean, in real life, you're defending your property. So
I called the cops, I reported it, and it turned into a huge scene. EMS and fire showed up, the sheriff showed up, the Texas game warden showed up. They took my gun and my weapon license while they did their investigation and shit. It was so funny.
That's wild.
It was so funny. I ended up getting let go because, I was defending my stuff. I might have lied and told them that he hit me first.
And then got in your car?
And then got in the car.
So do you think they could go back and, as a police, and review the video of what happened?
Maybe, because they can do a lot of things. The admins can, and most of the...
do you think most of the police officers are admins?
Most of them in that server are admins. So, they can... And, if you think about it, they're policing the server. It makes sense that that's an admin role, but then there are non-admin police officers in there, too. There's so much funny shit that happens in there.
I mean, and to even go more in depth, Jake was telling me you have to go and get your driver's license
in one of the servers. Not this one, but in one of the servers. As soon as I spawned in, Trevor is sitting there. From the GTA story mode. He's sitting there with a pink Vespa scooter, and he's like, "Hey, man, welcome to the city. You got to go take your driver's test to get your driver's license. Borrow this scooter." So drive over there. First, you have to take a written test. And then you take the driving test.
That's crazy.
And then you have to do one for your motorcycle and trucker's license too. And that server they had too many assets in it though. Every server has mods. That's one thing I didn't specify. These are all modded servers. So you're talking designer clothes, real clothes. Literally, my character in the game looks exactly like me right now.
I was going to say, we should throw up your character just because it's crazy how much he looks just like you.
Yeah, because, he's got the Packers hat, black tee, blue jeans, tattoos. He's got more nicer tattoos than me. But, at one point I even had some Vans on him, but I ended up switching it to some Nikes. But I also have some Nikes
some boots.
too. Yeah, no boots, no. But, you can be a police officer, you can be a mechanic, you can be a lawyer in some of these servers.
That's crazy.
You can be in the military in some of these servers. There's so much shit you can do. You can grow an illegal weed farm.
That's wild, man. It's just unbelievable to think, those are the type of mods that are out there when they allow you to create those servers and, all the things that you can do. How extensive is it to create your own server and run it?
That's
like a full-time job.
It's a lot. So
are these people getting paid for people using their servers?
Some of the people, which that's kind of like how you know if it's a good server or not, because some of them require a donation. I haven't joined any of those. I found some good servers without having to do any donations. But the one that I was talking about, the Republic of Texas Gaming, he's got on his Discord a link, if you want to donate to him, you can. I went on there just to see, how many donations he's gotten. He's gotten $5 in a year. So, but yeah,
some of these people you think, do you think EA looks at this and, damn, this server's super popular? Do you think they, look at that and bring maybe those people on for ideas? And
I wish they would, because some of these guys, the way that their servers are set up, is better than the actual game.
Well, and I feel like those are the die-hard people who love the game.
Yeah.
If there's that kind of commitment just to create the server, and then you have 100 people who are constantly playing it in that server, or even more, who knows how many can be in the servers. But and then you have that kind of following for your server. You think hey, let's get some ideas from this guy and what he sees.
I was in a server the other day. I didn't like it, but it had 1,600 people in it.
See, that's crazy.
Yeah. And some of the servers, there's one called NoPixel. That's where literally they only allow streamers. That's where all the big name streamers play. They have 200,000 pending applications because they deny everybody. But that server, I want to play in that fucking server.
Just to get in, just to be I did.
That server it looks it's so perfectly optimized.
So you can view the server before getting into it?
Yeah.
Is there a way to preview it?
To actually look in-game, no. But, they have tags of what's in the server and stuff. Some of the mods are pretty extensive. They rework parts of the map. So, there's McDonald's in there now. There's a Walmart in there. There's a Taco Bell. They switch things to real-world things, which is really cool.
Could you find something on YouTube, of somebody in that server, do you think?
Of NoPixel? Yeah, I've watched a lot of NoPixel videos.
That's cool. So at least you can see it that way.
Yeah, and that's why I want to play in it. Because a lot of the
dope.
servers that I've been into, you have to turn your graphics settings down because of the amount of assets that they have. Because it all goes based off of whoever runs the server. We're running off of their PC. So if their PC doesn't have enough RAM, or just isn't powerful enough in general, the server is going to be shit. And that dude who runs NoPixel has like an $80,000 setup. Yeah.
Say what?
Yeah. It's not like an actual gaming rig that he's running it on. It's like a rig for like producing videos and music and stuff. Yeah.
It just made my eye twitch because that's like $80,000.
Yeah, just to give you an example, like my GPU, which I have that 3080 Ti, one of the best graphics cards that you can buy. You know, it's got 12 gigs of VRAM. His has like 100 gigs of VRAM.
That's
yeah.
fucking nuts.
Yeah, so the big challenge to GTA 5M is finding a server that you're going to like. What I recommend, go into the server. Don't create your character. Just use whatever basic-ass character it has you start with. Hit confirm. Go explore the city. See if you like what you can do in that city. If not, leave. Find a new one. And then once you find one you like, just create a new character in it. And
so I'm meant to ask you, too, so you're talking about the guy who stole your vehicle. So what happens...
Tried to. I shot him in the head.
Yeah. So what happens to him, you know... Can he rejoin, and does he get all his stuff back? Like, what happens when you die?
So, when you die, you will respawn at the hospital in that server.
Just like regular gameplay,
yeah,
lose $50 or something?
It's $2,500 in that server. It's $2,500, but you lose all the items on your body.
So for instance, at one time, whenever E was getting questioned, what happens if, like, you and T-Bone decide, like, yo, let's jump this police officer?
So they're admins, so they would have just come back, but
but I mean, like, what's the ban? Like, is there any trouble for it, or
no?
Like that's
so
the gameplay,
it's role playing because there's a lot of these servers have gangs in them too. We went into a server. This was before we found Republic of Texas
real
Gaming.
Keyboard warriors in there, huh?
Bro, we went into a server where there was this creepy dude following me the whole time. And he wasn't saying anything, but like he would open his passenger door and honk his horn. And eventually I'm like, okay, I'll get into the car with this strange man. And you could tell he was just trying to show off his car.
Did you have a piece on you?
No, I didn't. I was new to the server. So he's just trying to show off this Mustang that he has. But at one point he puts it into a fucking concrete barricade and I didn't have my seatbelt on. So I go flying out the windshield. I fucking hit the ground on the highway, get hit by a truck. And then, I don't even bleed out and die because there's like a 300-second timer. All of a sudden, fucking police show up like 100 seconds in, fucking pick me up, put me in their car, bring my ass to the hospital, and then, I survived because they brought me to the hospital. But then I get out of the hospital and that same dude is there with a different car, and he like types in, "Hey, sorry." And
yeah, right, bro. He saw you didn't have your seatbelt on.
So then he opens the car door again, and I'm like, fuck, like now I'm on the opposite side of town. Hopefully he goes the other way. So I get back in the car with the guy who just fucking killed me. And
stranger danger,
at one point he's just spinning in circles. I'm like, all right, fuck this. I'm getting out of the car. So I get out of the car, I'm running down the street, and now he's on a mission to kill me because he's upset that I got out of his car. So at one point he fucking nails me into a fucking wall and breaks my leg. Because you can break your bones in this server. So my guy is like limping, and then I would fucking fall down, and then I'm trying to get to Eric and T-Bone so that, like, hey, there's at least 3 of us. And, like, I was barely alive by the time I got to them. And then the same cops who saved me before showed up, and they explained a bunch of stuff to us, and they're like, hey, man, you got to go to the hospital, or, like, you're going to die. Like, all right, going back to the hospital. So when we get to the hospital, there's a gang like dragging a cop's body, and then another cop showed up and they killed that cop, and like every time a new cop showed up, this gang just fucked him up. But the gang was super cool. Like they didn't rob us or anything. They were teaching us how to play the game, easy ways to make money. One of them gave me a bag of weed and showed me how to sell it to a pedestrian.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah,
that's
crazy.
Cool.
Like all those type of mods you can do that you can never do in a regular GTA game. So that's why we kind of brought this up is just the customizations that are in these particular mods and these different servers that you can join is
and I do want to say though, it's not all roleplay servers. There's servers, they're referred to as 100K or die, and those are just go in, have fun, spawn any car you want, spawn any gun that you want, and just go have fun.
Now, like, so do you have to create a new character every time you go into a server? Or,
yes.
I was going to say, can you save your guy and use him in every server?
No, because every server has different assets.
True, different don't have the brands and all that stuff.
Yeah,
gotcha.
but most of them, the customization is very similar. The
Pretty quick.
Yeah, unless you're Eric and T-Bone, yeah. Well, Eric's especially, yeah. Eric is terrible with it.
I was going to say, I figured he'd be a guy that'd take forever.
Yeah, but damn, we talked about that for a while. We do want to be able to talk about some Saints Row.
Yeah.
As well. You ever play the old Saints Row games?
I played a little bit of the first one. I don't want to say I played a whole lot. I just remember it being a gang war type gang.
Yeah.
Didn't get too much into it because, like I said, at that point, I felt like it was a comparison to Grand Theft Auto.
The first one especially,
when it first came out. So I played a little bit of it, did some missions and things like that. And I just was like, man, I'd rather play GTA. So, went back to Grand Theft Auto. But
yeah, the first Saints Row, I preferred over GTA, but then Saints Row started to get super cartoony, like to an extreme. Like we mentioned earlier, by the end of it, you're the president of the United States and you're fighting aliens and shit. So, not really my cup of tea. So the new Saints Row is a reboot. They're starting over. You're just a dude on the street who ends up joining the Saints, which is a gang, and you're kind of just working your way up. But now it does look cartoony in its own ways, but not as extreme as the last Saints. Last three Saints. Yeah, there's hoverboards, there's jet skis, there's
glider
flight suits. Yeah, there's a lot of cool looking shit in the game. The graphics are pretty damn good too. A little on the cartoony side for the graphics, but good.
I was thinking, whenever you said that too, I was thinking it going to be a little bit more cartoony than what I saw, but the graphics looked amazing, a little bit realistic. There was some really
if you
cool
take GTA graphics and merge them with Fortnite graphics, right in the middle there, that's where Saints Row is going to be at.
I can agree with that.
They actually have on the Epic Game Store, you can download the Boss Factory and create your character right now. Before the game comes out on the 22nd.
So once you launch, ready to go?
Just ready to go. And I'm stoked for it. I know they're going to have some sort of multiplayer.
Your character?
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
Who fuck you think you're talking
to,
dog?
I'm just making sure, bro. I figured you would have.
Fucking yeah, I did. T-Bone created his weeks ago, though.
Oh, did he?
Did that weeks ago, motherfucker. But, yeah, I mean, it's a good break. Games like that are a good break from reality, I feel. Do you remember the Just Cause games?
Yes.
Those were a great break from it. You fucking quick grapple onto a plane that's coming by and
go halfway across the map.
Yeah, and then blow the plane up and you're riding it on the way down. That shit was cool. So, and I guess in terms of gameplay, if you take Just Cause and mix it with GTA, that's kind of like what
Just Cause was probably very close to it, yeah.
Yeah.
Graphics-wise, gameplay-wise.
Yeah, and I mean, it looks like there's going to be a shit ton of customization, not just your character, your guns, your cars. We don't know a whole lot about the multiplayer that's going to be coming out. There is going to be multiplayer. I don't know if it's going to be like GTA Online.
Launching, though, same day as the game on the 22nd?
I don't think so.
Or probably going to be maybe 6 months down the road?
I think it's going to be down the road. I'd have to confirm that. By the time you're watching this, I'll confirm it. But
GTA didn't launch theirs.
It was a year or maybe a little less than a year after.
It felt like a while after that they finally came out with the online content.
Yeah, because I remember GTA 5 came out on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 4.
Isn't that hard to believe?
No, PlayStation 3.
Isn't that hard to believe? That's when it launches on those older consoles, and here we are pretty much 2 gens
and
later.
They keep re-releasing it and selling it again.
Dude, it's crazy, bro.
You know that's the highest grossing game of all time.
But look at everything you can do with it. I mean, the game itself for the story mode takes forever to play. So, I mean, it's so much you can do with that.
I 100%ed it, so.
I mean,
all the side
you get a lot more game time than I do, that's for sure.
Not at the time. I had a kid. You didn't. Sick of your fucking excuses.
It's true.
But, shit, why did you bring us back to Grand Theft Auto? We just got done talking about Grand Theft Auto.
You brought it back to GTA.
I don't believe you.
I do.
No. So, I do hope the multiplayer is going to be like GTA Online, though, where it's, random people on the server as well. I hope it's not like, hey, guys, join my game and help me with these missions. I don't want that. I want chaos.
Yeah.
Just like how Grand Theft Auto Online, I used to enjoy the chaos of Grand Theft Auto Online, especially when I've got my first tank. It's like, oh, you trying to fuck on me?
It's about to go down.
We used to bully the shit out of people on GTA Online too. We bought these big Sand King trucks.
So I want you guys to notice who just
I
right
brought
back
it back.
to GTA.
We got these big Sand King trucks, and we would just like find one person on the server, and we would just go bully them.
Oh, you told me about that.
Just
before.
nonstop, just ramming into them. 3 big ass trucks, sometimes 4 if one of our other buddies was on. Yeah,
that's terrible.
Yeah, cyberbullying at its finest.
But yeah, so GTA, the servers, modded servers, check them out. There's so much you can do on there. Saints Row, again, comes out on the 22nd.
Yeah.
And then we have one honorable mention here that Jake's kind of stumbled onto and been playing a little bit with some other people, and it's
Rumbleverse. So,
like very Fortnite-ish.
So we're going to picture this, all right? Everyone, just close your eyes. Your eyes closed? Okay. Close your eyes. All right, we're in the Fortnite world, right? Fortnite world, cartoony, but you're a wrestler. Are you a big guy? Are you a little skinny guy? I don't know. There's no weapons. Oh no, what am I going to do? I'm going to fight motherfuckers. It is a wrestling battle royale.
Oh, Jesus my eyes were closed. That was imagining, bro. I was in my imagination zone, man. I'm sorry.
Well, you've seen it. I showed you my gameplay, but
yeah, but I was living it, bro. So
it's
Your description was beautiful.
So it's a super cartoony battle royale where you are a wrestler. You can do either solos or duos, and you jump or you get blasted in a cannon into the city. And similar concept, ring closing. The difference is you don't get hurt if you're outside of the ring. It's like a count out, like real wrestling, like 1, 2, and if you get up to 10, you're out.
That's awesome.
But yeah, you can climb buildings, you can fucking suplex people, RKO them. It's so fucking cool. I'm going to show a little bit of gameplay on this TV. It's probably been going, if you guys haven't seen it, some gameplay from a game I did earlier, but check it out. It's free on the Epic Game Store.
It's fun. Give you something to kill some pastime and do something that's interesting, especially if you like wrestling, go suplex some people,
super
body
kick
slam.
a dude off a building. It's dope.
Yeah, dope is dope.
Ever smoked.
With
that, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back for our sports segment.
Yeah, let's go. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about. See you in a few.
How long it takes to film the podcast? I'm like, usually it's like 2 to 3 hours. They're like, that long? I'm like, yeah, because fucking Paul outtakes 30 times for a fucking session, so I exaggerated, but all right, I'm ready.
Welcome back to the MGS podcast. I'm not doing that.
That sounded so fucking dumb. I'm so glad you're not doing that. Yo, welcome back to the MGS podcast.
MGS podcast.
Welcome back to the MGS podcast, your one-stop shop for movies, games, and sports. We've reached the final segment of our podcast, which is sports. That thing was weird. It was
what happened there,
screwing me. I don't know. It wasn't moving.
Jake fucked up.
No, I'm gonna keep going. So, to kick things off, we talked about it in our last podcast, but officially, the NFL is back. Football is back.
Began. We had the what's it called game last week?
The Hall of Fame game.
Hall of Fame game.
Yep.
And then kicked it off last night, I think, with your team and my team playing.
Yeah.
We got annihilated.
Packers lost to the Steelers. Jordan Love, the person we drafted to replace Aaron Rodgers.
How many interceptions?
3. He threw 3 interceptions.
I thought it was 2.
Actually, when I seen it was 3 interceptions in the third quarter. So he may have thrown more. But I think we ended up sitting him after the third quarter anyway and brought in our third stringer. But
almost pulled a Kaepernick.
Man, how they thought this guy who was he wasn't even projected to go in the first round when we drafted him in the first round. How they thought he was going to be Aaron Rodgers' replacement blows my mind. So, I mean,
it's hard, sometimes I feel like, look at Josh Rosen. How many teams has he been on now? I think he's on his
78
4th NFL team. And it was funny because they were talking about it in a quote that age is really bad for him. That after he got drafted, talking about how he's going to prove every team wrong that drafted a quarterback before them, and it's like, well, are you going to play for every team before you have to prove them wrong? Like what's the deal here?
Still kind of waiting on that proof here, Joshua. But
come on now,
and of course, obviously you're going to have your standout quarterbacks who went late. Obviously, the big one being Tom Brady. People are always going to bring that up. Kurt Warner being undrafted and just being picked up afterwards. Some people make the comparison to Aaron Rodgers, but the difference between Rodgers and Love is Rodgers was projected to be the first overall pick. And then somehow he slipped to like 24th when the Packers were able to get him.
Thank God, right?
Yeah, that's fucking insane.
He got a Super Bowl out of him.
We only have 2 Super Bowls from 2 of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game, though, which is kind of sad. But I think that's proof, though, that everyone who's constantly riding Tom Brady's dick, it's not just about the damn quarterback.
What's crazy though is like I just feel like there's so much statistics that go into like when they start making these first round picks and second round picks that. Like, they dig so deep into it that, like, the basic fundamentals that these guys have to be successful are the guys that get chosen, later in the rounds and, just get overlooked, because maybe they didn't play for the big, Big Ten
they didn't
Ohio
play for
State
your Alabamas.
Right. Like you weren't an SEC championship team or whatnot. And they may have played for, like, a D2 school but still have all the fundamentals to be successful in the NFL. And we've seen that time and time again with, multiple positions, safeties or, wide receivers that come out and, they weren't, projected to do that well, but they come out and they're just,
wide receivers especially.
Yeah.
I feel like the ones drafted late typically stand out.
Jamar Chase.
Yeah, Jamar Chase. I mean, like Devontae Adams, he got drafted in late second round, I believe. I could be wrong. It might have been early third round, but, he didn't go first round. And look at him now. Shit.
Yeah. There's a lot of those success stories out there. So it'd be interesting. Speaking of football and preseason, I know we don't watch a ton of it. Like every game, like we would. When the regular season comes out, because at that point it's packed into 2 days and one on a Thursday night. But do you have a team that you're like excited to see besides the Green Bay Packers? Like, is there a team that made some trades this off season that you're kind of like, I think this team is going to be fun to watch, and I think this is going to be, the next, surprise team.
The Denver Broncos. You and I have talked about it many times over the years that I think Russell Wilson is the most underrated good quarterback. Not saying he's underrated because people do hold him to a high standard, but I think he's one of the best in the game right now.
Yeah. And speaking of the Denver Broncos, I think they just lost one of their wide receivers, too, to an injury.
They did.
So it'll be interesting to see what he does over there. I mean, obviously he's electric, and you're 100% right. I mean, I think that is one of my teams that I'm excited to see. Hopefully Andy's not watching this so he can, get all these kudos. But, I mean, I think they're going to be a great squad. I think someone like Russell Wilson coming in can automatically turn around, and get that team to where they probably want to be playoff-wise. I mean, look what he was able to do with Seattle.
Yeah, as they were crashing and burning, and he was still putting that team up on his shoulders, and he's like, I got you. And he's only 4'8", so that's an impressive thing to do. I'm
taller than he is.
Yeah, I know.
Because, you've said I'm 4'9" before.
Yeah, that's true.
So, anyways, but I mean, maybe, Broncos fans, I know we have a couple that watch the show. Maybe you guys can tell me, but I mean, the O-line's got to be a little bit better than
I just sat
Seattle,
up and look at
Jesus Christ. But the O-line's got to be a little bit better in Denver. I'm not really too familiar with it, but hopefully he gets a little bit more time, not having to scramble.
It can't be much worse.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it could be. Then again, it could be worse because you could be the Bengals O-line from last season.
Yeah, well, putting up record number of sacks in a game and in a season.
Yeah.
But we fixed that. So that's the good news. So, I don't even want to pour salt on any wounds. I know you have already mentioned, you're happy for him, but mine's the Raiders. I'm excited to see, I really like Derek Carr as a quarterback, and I'm excited to see what they can do over there now. They have that weapon, and they still have one of the greatest tight ends out there. Struggled a little bit last season, but still a stud. They have a great running game over there and a pretty good defensive front as well. So I think the Raiders are going to make a lot of noise. I'm excited to see them play. Charles Woodson was always one of my favorite jerseys to wear, and just the black and silver, bro.
No.
I know he's a Green Bayer for you for life, but again,
how many Super Bowls did he win with Oakland? 0. 1 with Green Bay.
So, but I've always liked them.
Charles Woodson is one of my favorite players of all time. I love
just
Charles
an
Woodson.
Absolute stud, and I think he still holds the only person to ever win a defensive
Heisman.
Yeah,
he beat out
award,
Peyton Manning that year.
Yeah, and that's not easy to do. So he was lighting it up for Tennessee. So yeah, I'm excited to see the Raiders this year. We beat them last year, first round in the wild card game playoffs.
Yeah, the AFC is making noise, which is, unfortunate for you.
It's kind of flip-flopped. It used to be a
lot
the
NFC's been the powerhouse, with the exception of you had your Steelers and your Patriots for that.
Ravens are always been tough. Obviously, won the Super Bowl
but your huge powerhouses. You had the Packers, of course. The Seahawks, the 49ers, the Giants at one point. Like the NFC was the powerhouse of the NFL. But yeah, it's making that shift over to the AFC because. You just look at the quarterback situation in the AFC compared to the NFC.
It's scary, man.
Yeah.
I'm terrified.
The NFC has 2 good quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. And Justin Fields, I think, has a lot of potential still to be a good quarterback. But
last year I felt like they set him up for so much failure in Chicago.
God,
they didn't do anything to build around him or to set something up for his play style.
Yeah, they didn't have a game plan at all for his play style.
And they were criticized for the first 8 games that year of dude, what are you guys doing? Are you guys just trying to get this guy killed? Are you trying to injure your first round pick?
Yeah, because that is a murder.
Yeah.
But they got rid of Matt Nagy up there.
Chicago's used to murder, so
he's not wrong. So I think it'll be a better year for him. They've got different minds in there now. They got to see him play all of last year, pretty much anyway. Because I think they started with Nick Foles, but that was very short lived, and then Justin Fields came in.
That's how it usually starts. Whenever it was not Nick Foles, it was Andy Dalton.
It was Andy Dalton. That's right.
They started with Andy Dalton.
That's
and I think
right.
they even finished the season with Andy Dalton because they weren't obviously anywhere in contention with playoffs or anything. But
Andy Dalton.
Yeah, but he's down ginger. No, not Dallas. He moved somewhere else. Can't remember. Yeah, he's moved on from Chicago, though. He's moved somewhere else now. So, but we'll see. Another team, have you been watching any Hard Knocks at all?
No, because they don't feature the Packers yet.
It's exciting.
It's always like the Browns. Like, who wants to watch the Browns on Hard Knocks?
It's just amazing, on how Hard Knocks makes you feel hyped for that team.
Yeah.
Honestly, I hope they're in a good competition for you guys this year, but. They had who's that wide receiver?
Are you talking about the Bears still?
No. Lions, Hard Knocks.
Lions. Are you talking about the little guy?
He blew up at the end of the season. He actually helped me win my fantasy league last year.
St. Brown.
Yes.
Because his brother Equinemius played for the Packers, and now he got picked up by the Lions, I believe.
So they're both there?
Yeah.
So, but you get everything in the locker room, so you're getting all the hype, the emotions these guys put in, and it's just really kind of cool to see it all, and you kind of get hyped for that team.
I don't want to be hyped for them. It's
gonna be pretty cool,
See, that's why I'm not watching Hard Knocks. That's why I don't.
Golf over there, who I still think's a great quarterback. I'm not saying he's not a top 10, but he's still a really good quarterback.
Yeah, he's a good starting quarterback. Yeah. He is.
I think we were all surprised that LA kind of went for an older Matthew Stafford and, made that trade. Obviously, it paid out for them for sure, but, they built around Jared Goff. They made a lot of things happen for Jared Goff. Did. And I think he's still going to do pretty well over there. I think if they get him the weapons, he'll be all right.
Yeah, it's, Hard Knocks is like fantasy football for me. Like when I watch, let's say I have, the Bears running back and they're playing the Packers and I need the Bears running back to have a good game to win my fantasy game. That's why I stopped playing fantasy. Because I don't want that Bears. I'd rather lose that fucking game.
You don't want to root for them at all, right?
Yeah. It's like
just threw $75 down the drain.
It's like, okay, how about he gets one 99-yard run for a touchdown, and then we annihilate them? It's always super unrealistic shit like that.
Speaking of, I tried to get him to join our fantasy league, and he said no, so now we know the reason why. He won't invest into rooting against the Packers.
No, I can't do it.
Even if it's for $800.
Nope. I couldn't root against the Packers for a lot of money. It'd have to be a good chunk. I'd need my, Dodge Challenger Demon in the driveway. Yeah.
Yeah.
I say that specifically because that's the car that I'm driving in GTA roleplay. But
yeah, so it's interesting. We'll see, what goes on. Again, your favorite team you'll be keeping an eye on this year is going to be the Broncos. I'll be keeping an eye on the Raiders. I think those are going to be some successful teams. Broncos were my number 2, so I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, I do kind of regret saying the Broncos because, like you said, if Andy's watching this, he's gonna give me some shit.
Oh,
but
yeah.
But hey, I think you guys got some potential this year, Andy. The last time you picked up a veteran quarterback, you won a Super Bowl. So
it's true, but Peyton Manning was a whole other beast. So
yeah,
he had a lot to prove after the Colts let him go.
Yeah, that poor guy.
Yeah.
Speaking of, it always breaks my heart that fucking Andrew Luck got booed out of that stadium.
Yeah, especially, he's just trying to take care of his health.
Yeah, because he had been hurt so much, and he still did so. He won a lot of games for that city, and for them to boo him, that's some like Philly, New York type shit right there.
Oh yeah. Speaking of New York, you see that fight they had on the practice field?
Yeah, they're in mid-season form. It was,
bro. It's so funny because there's a fight, and then there's also, who's the quarterback? Daniels.
Yeah, Josh Daniels.
Josh Daniels throws like a pass, and it's 15 yards away from his receiver, and it's just like that going viral of him like completely missing his target. It's like Giants in mid-season form.
I love it.
And then they get in a fight on the playing field, which is with their star running back, and they're all jumping on him and piling on. Coach gets involved, shoving. It's like, holy shit, bro! Like what is going on in New York, man? So they got a new head coach there. Let's see how that goes this year, and
that should turn things around.
Yeah,
really seals in the flavor.
Another thing that's surprising, kind of switch subjects here. Tatis Jr.
Yeah,
Fernando,
that suspension.
Man, he got suspended in baseball, and he's gonna be out for 80 games. So right when you get your big 3 over for San Diego, you get Soto, you have their third baseman. Oh my gosh, I can't even think of his name.
That's not his name.
I want to keep saying Rivera, but that's not it. It's God, it starts with an M. I forget.
Aaron Rodgers.
Either way, and then you get Soto over there, and they got this big 3 now, and then all of a sudden, within 10 games, they find out he's using PEDs, and he gets suspended for 80 games from the league.
I'm always curious when these guys test positive for PEDs. Like, I want to know, like, what was it? Like, because there's so many things that are considered a PED.
Right, there's the crazy thing is, it's not like it was steroids. It's probably some kind of like pre-workout that had some kind of formula that either his trainer or somebody, and most of those guys are not just taking that stuff freely. Most of that stuff's like coming from a trainer or an athletic, someone in their athletic department that's giving them this stuff. Think that it would be.
Yeah, I mean,
it just gets a little crazy, dude.
Yeah,
steroids was one of the best eras of baseball,
it was.
Bro. Like,
we talked about it. We had an entire segment about the steroid era.
More home runs. Let's go.
I just, I've seen players in the past. Now it's been a long time since this specifically has happened, but they get suspended for PEDs based off of a drug they were prescribed by a fucking doctor for pain or for their muscles, whatever it may be, and then they get suspended for that, and it's
feel bad
terrible
at that point because it's like. They're playing 160-something games a season, bro. Like, that's a lot on your body. So they need to take things that are going to help those muscles heal faster or, get away maybe a stress fracture or something like that, that's, bothering them. I mean, shit, who knows what they give those guys on the football field on the sidelines after halfway through the season.
All I'm saying is if he would have not taken the PEDs and just, instead assaulted 25 massage therapists.
He'd only have a 6-game suspension.
He would only have a 6-game suspension.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, Tatis Jr., think about it next time. Weigh your options here.
Because those massage therapists can relax your muscles too.
Yeah. But and then after that, happy ending.
You see that Roger Goodell is trying to get the players' union to do a season-long suspension.
It's crazy. Like, and I'm not trying to be too hard on him, but again, I don't even feel like that's even good enough.
I thought it should have been an indefinite suspension. Like, we'll tell you when you can come back. But
yeah, like, I mean, again, we've watched Josh Gordon get suspended for marijuana for multiple seasons, and this guy's, has all these accusations. But
well, hell, fucking Aaron Rodgers just confessed to using psychedelics.
Yeah, some shrooms.
Yeah,
basically.
I saw this thing,
but I
and
think it
it's
was
like
all during off season, right?
I don't remember when it was, but I saw this amazing meme, and it said, "Breaking news: Josh Gordon suspended for Aaron Rodgers using psychedelics."
Oh, I didn't see that one. That's hilarious.
Oh, poor Josh Gordon.
Never gonna live it down.
I feel for the guy, but at the same time, no, I don't smoke.
Machado.
Oh, okay, there you
Sorry.
go. There's the third baseman. I don't smoke. I know people that do, but if I was making millions of dollars, arguably one of the best wide receivers in the game at the time, I'd quit smoking weed. After the first suspension, especially after the second suspension.
I don't know, man. One of the best Miami running backs to ever do it.
Ricky Williams.
Was living on that shit, bro. He didn't care how many times he got suspended. He's like, I'm not quitting marijuana.
Then he goes to Canada at one point, and he's like, hey, they let me smoke it a little more here. They're slightly more lenient on it.
That's crazy. Yeah, Ricky Williams, man. What a stud he was.
I loved Ricky Williams.
Dude, he was electric, bro.
Yeah.
A lot of people forget about him, but, he fought all the suspensions towards the end. But yeah, it was interesting time with him. He was a character.
Yeah.
So,
you mentioned something about a knee earlier, little flying knee kick.
Oh yeah, but I forgot the guy's name that did it. But yeah, the UFC flying knee.
Because I didn't see the match and I got all excited.
Straight up knee. I wish we would have looked it up in the break because I did want to talk about that.
This fucking guy.
But yeah, straight up kneed this dude right in the face and just straight KO. But yeah, it's cool. I mean, there's been a lot of good stuff going on in UFC. There was one other thing that I wanted to bring up here, and it is on my phone. So I apologize for you guys. Oh, the Orlando Magic might be getting a pull from the Championship Warriors team. So there's a lot of rumors
I did see
going
that
around
because I talked to T-Bone about it a little bit, and he's he's feeling a way about it.
And he did really well for them. So I mean, I'd be excited to see Magic actually go out and pull somebody. I feel like they've been living through the draft these last couple of years, or picking up a lot of small name characters. But yeah, I'm excited if they get pulled. That would be really big for them, especially with our young surrounding cast.
Yeah,
it'd be awesome to see.
So is this? Oh,
no, it wasn't that one, but that was a hell of a hit.
Yeah, damn. Yeah. Tyson Nam counters flying knee with brutal KO finish of Ode Osborne. I've always wanted to have the same voice as the twins who do like the boxing and
Are they twins?
I think so.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But now you have me questioning myself.
Well, I mean, I don't know, so I can't tell you you're right or wrong.
That's fucked up.
So, but yeah, I'm excited. We got fantasy football getting ready. I got my draft on Sunday. NFL season kicking off. Baseball again winding down, getting ready to go into some playoff forms here.
That reminds me.
The Red Sox still continue to kind of struggle with who the hell knows what's going on with him.
I told a friend of mine that I was going to bring up his first round fantasy draft pick on the podcast.
Oh, God, what was it?
So.
He thought it was good?
No, he panicked.
Oh, God.
So, first round.
First pick?
His first pick.
Well,
No, not first
he?
overall pick. He didn't say. He just said that it was in the first round. But he drafts Kyle Pitts, who is a tight end.
Dude, you know what's crazy is I don't even think he had a touchdown last year.
He's like a wide receiver 1 though. Like, Evan, I'm sorry, that was a bust, bro.
I mean, he had a crazy amount of yards, but for some reason I think he found the end zone so limited.
Yeah,
but he had a ton of yardage for the season.
I didn't ask him if he's in a PPR league, because if he's in a PPR league, the receptions are going to help out tremendously.
90% of them are PPR leagues.
I don't like PPR leagues.
90% of them is what it is.
Because all you have to do is draft literally any running back from Tampa Bay, because 90% of Tom Brady's passes are check down passes to the running back, and boom, you're good.
Oh, I'm sorry. Speaking of Tom Brady, Tampa Bay, one thing I don't know that we talked about was Julio Jones.
We brought it up. I posted it on the Instagram.
Yeah.
But yeah, he signs a 1-year deal, turning down a deal from both the Packers and. Forget the other team. There was another contender, though, that made an offer to him. Turns down both those offers to go play with Tom Brady, Mike Evans.
He's on the edge of retirement. I think he just wants to go and try to do what he can. But I was surprised if that's the case, that he would turn down going to play with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
But, I saw some footage.
I'd rather live in Tampa than Green Bay.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
If I'm being honest.
Yeah, he was down in Atlanta, so
I feel like his Super Bowl odds at either are good. I think he does have better Super Bowl odds in Tampa because they have a much better wide receiver core than
Mike Evans
Green
is
Bay
injured
right now. Is he?
Yeah, Mike Evans is already injured. He already tweaked. I don't know if it was his hamstring or what.
But did he die?
No.
So he's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, so it'll be interesting. I mean, him and Brady, I've already seen them link up on some great, passing catches in their spring practice. Yeah. I don't want to say spring. It wasn't spring, but in their training camp. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. There's a lot of trades going on that went on through this off season. That's going to be really interesting to see, and all the mix-up that happened in the NFL. So I'm excited for that.
I do have one more thing I want to bring up before we end for the night. Spring training. I was watching, like they were showing different spring training areas on the Pat McAfee show. Like, oh, this is Green Bay's, and it's the stands are full. They got a shit ton of people there. Here's Tampa's. They showed Cincinnati, and it's just everyone. Like, there's no dead space. There is a person in every possible space. And then they showed the Washington Commanders.
Oh, God, I didn't see that.
There were 2 people. Yeah. There were 2 people, and they were like really 13 years old.
I do remember seeing that. It's dude, it's so funny to see some of those things. Like, even the fans that get to interact. Like, I was watching this little girl who I think it was at the Panthers practice, and she had brought out some
tea.
Yeah, tea, and giving
Packers,
it to the player.
Bruh. That was the
Packers.
Was
it the Packers? Oh yeah, it was. You're right. So there was another one. This kid got his glove signed, and he told him this was on the Panthers, and he told him, he's like, yeah, hey, tomorrow bring me some Oreos.
Yeah, he was talking to Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah. The next day the kid comes out and has Oreos for him, and then they go to Christian McCaffrey with one of his O-line, and they're in the golf cart. He's like, where the hell did you get the Oreos? Go, I asked this kid to bring them to me yesterday, and he brought them. And he goes, no one ever brings me Oreos.
Yeah, and then Christian McCaffrey brought him his cleats though at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah, that was awesome. It's so cool to see the interaction with the fans, especially the little guys.
Well, yeah, in Green Bay, I don't know if a lot of people knew this or not, but for spring training, every day they let kids meet at Lambeau Field because spring training's across the street over there, and you bring your bike, and one of the Packer players will ride your bike over to the training area, and like if they have pegs, you'll be on the pegs on your bike with a Packer player riding it. It's pretty cool.
I saw this really cool story with a Packer player. I think it's one of your wide receivers, and Steve Smith. And Steve Smith back in Carolina, where this guy grew up, was
Jair Alexander. He's our corner.
Like a
youth football
camp, and like they talked about on how he made such an impact on him, and then now he's in the NFL, and he came over to Steve Smith. He's like, I don't know if you remember. He's like, but you trained me, and Steve Smith knew exactly who he was, and he's like, holy cow. And it's like you don't realize the impact that these guys make on kids, that he's made it all the way to the most elite.
And Jair Alexander, he's one of the best corners in the league right now.
He's a corner.
He's a corner.
For some reason I was thinking wide receiver, but so, and he's like, I always watched film on you growing up because he's like, if I could stop someone like Steve Smith, I know I can make it in the NFL. Yep. And he's like, you just had that dog in you. And he's like, that's what the mentality that I took with me. And I was like, dude, what a cool story, man. And Steve Smith was just like, he's like, you think that I impacted you, but you telling me that story impacted me as a person. It was a tearjerker, bro. I was like, yo, this is really cool.
I get it. I mentor kids when I go play paintball. Not trying to make a big deal about it. And then I shoot him in the dick.
Yo, are you Master Chief?
Yes. I've had someone ask me that before.
Because you dress just like him. Your helmet literally looks like a Master Chief helmet, so it's over there on the stand. You have to bring it in. But yeah, damn thing looks just like him. Visor, everything. See? Look, Master Chief.
It's pretty close. But I think that'll wrap things up for the podcast. I think
that's it, man. Good seeing everybody, man. I'm glad you guys came to hang out with us. We had a lot of good stuff to talk about here with gaming and sports and movies. Again, go check out those trailers and let us know what you guys think. Again, what's it called? Drops today. The vampire movie on Netflix. Day Shift.
Yep, it's out now.
Saints Row, going to be coming out on the 22nd. And then, start a football season now. A lot of things going on there. And as MLB wraps up, they get ready for the playoffs. So we appreciate you guys coming to hang out. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share the hell out of these videos. Oh, yeah. We really appreciate it. So leave us a comment. If there's something you guys want us to talk about next week, maybe we ramble on too much about everything else, pretty much football.
Yeah.
But thanks for chiming in. We'll see you guys next week.
Have a good one.
I knew you were going to do that when you put it on your head.
I was hoping it was going to go down faster.
Or smoother.
Yeah.
Oh, it's blue.
It was the only color they had.
Blue, if I was green, I would die.
Blue, if I was green, I would die. If I was green, I am blue. If I was green, I would die. You know there's two versions of that song? There's a version of that song where he says, I'm blue, if I was green, I would die if I was green. And then there's another version where he does, I'm blue, da-ba-dee-ba-da-da-ba-dee-ba.
What was the original, though?
I think the da-ba-da-ba-dee-ba, da-ba-da-ba. I don't know. I could be fucking completely wrong, too. I'm probably putting this in the outtakes, so if anyone watches it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.